Pacific Standard Time is a member-supported podcast from the San Francisco Standard.
Join today at sfstandard.com/member.
Of all of the unexpected news stories that happened in the year 2025, of which there were so many, there was one story in particular that more of my friends and family felt impacted by and actually couldn't wait to call me up and let me know about. And that was the death of Claude the alligator from the Cal Academy of Sciences.
Breaking news from San Francisco, where we have just learned of the death of Claude the albino alligator.
I broke the news to my coworkers and we screamed. But if you are from here, you know, and you've been to the Academy of Sciences, you know that Claude the albino alligator was a staple.
So if you don't know, Claude the alligator was this beloved albino, very rare alligator who lived at the Academy of Sciences, this museum in Golden Gate Park here in San Francisco, and was beloved by people from across the world who came to visit him.
He was also like a lazy icon. He was beloved for doing nothing.
Yeah, he just sat on a rock and was his white, beautiful self. And this year was his 30th birthday party. And for his 30th birthday party, the museum sold out, with tons of people coming from all around dressed up like they were going to a birthday party, wearing hats and sashes and shirts with Claude's face on it to celebrate. It was like the social event of the year.
I feel like I missed out. Well, and then when Claude passed, the city was so upset, but people were also wondering what happened, because 30, even though he was getting up there in age, was actually, he could have lived a lot longer. It turned out, devastatingly, that Claude had cancer. And as the city was mourning this loss of this animal that had meant so much to people, our producer, Gabrielle Burbet, who also lived in San Francisco and grew up visiting Claude in the park, had the thought, man, if we're all feeling this badly, how must the people who take care of him feel?
We're looking down on the rock, the heated rock that Claude would hang out on. It's very empty.
So Gabby went to the museum to talk to Claude's keeper to see how she was doing.
Here's that conversation.
Where are we right now?
We are at the swamp habitat. We have some areas where you can share your memories. So people have written to us. This one says, "Sorry you died, Claude. Maeve." Signed it. And it's like a beautifully constructed, like, construction paper cutout of him and a turtle. This is very nice. "Dear Claude, we miss you. Even though you are no longer part of our world and you are blind, we still love you and always will. Have a nice time as a forever spirit, loved of all. Sincerely, the International School of San Francisco." But mostly Justine and Loey or Joey? I'm sure.
Loey. Looks like
Loey.
But Joey.
My name is Emma Kocina. I'm a senior biologist here at the California Academy of Sciences. I work primarily with our herps, which are amphibians and reptiles. And I've been a part of the rainforest team for about 8 years. A lot of times I just say I'm a zookeeper, but it really is so much more involved than I think what a lot of people understand a zookeeper to be, right? Like, you care for animals, but it's my entire day. So it's record keeping, it's feeding, it's cleaning, it's training them. It's a lot of different things.
Training them?
Yeah.
You train Claude?
So luckily, a group of biologists that cared for him before I came in 2018 worked with him hours at a time to just get him to sort of recognize verbal cues. So they're the ones who got him to recognize his name. We would call it from the top of the habitat, and he would turn in the direction of the voice.
And what would you say? Just like...
Claude. But you have to
like
say
that?
it loud.
How would you say it?
You have to say it loud and low because he's an alligator. So we were thinking he picks up on lower tones. So it'd be like, Claude. Yeah. I remember the first time I got to feed him. We do it with a long pair of tongs, and we also, we say his name, and then...
Are you in the...
Yeah. So the way you get in is you put a ladder in and you climb down on the rock. And then we have an area which we call the pen where he would swim over to, and he knew that that's where he would get fed.
So you would call his name Claude?
Yeah, you'd call his name Claude. He would come into the pen and then hang out where we called home. And so when you feed him, you would say, Claude, home. And he would he would bump his nose on the rock. And then that was the the indication that like he heard us, and we would look for that just little like bump, and then we'd give him his food. So we go, Claude, home, and he go boop, and then we say good, and then give him like a rat or a fish. And the first time I did that, I was terrified because he's so big. Like he's 11 feet long, 300 pounds, and I guess I just didn't realize how big that was until you're just like eye to eye with an alligator. Yeah, it was surprising, I think, just to see the size of him. And, you know, he never was aggressive towards me. So I think towards the later years, I would sometimes forget this is an alligator. Like you can't just be like complacent, which you're not, but you just have to remind yourself that you are working with a dangerous animal, which was sometimes hard to remember with Claude because he would, he was like very calm for an alligator.
When you got here as a volunteer and then when you started working with him, did you understand why people were so obsessed with him here?
It's so hard to like put your finger on. Like I've been trying to understand, but I think it's so many things. You know, I can only speak to my own connection, but you know, he allowed me to like become more confident in my job. Because when you work with an alligator, you have to be confident. You have to move in, you know, with confidence. He really pushed me out of my comfort zone in like a lot of ways. Once I started working on the swamp team, I was on it for a couple of years, and then I became the lead of the team. And I've always been a very shy person, so that put me in this leadership position that I like could not imagine myself being in. And it, you know, required me to lead a team into a pit with an alligator and make sure that everyone was properly trained and we had all the safety precautions in order. And, you know, it pushed me to, you know, speak up for myself and, you know, lead a team confidently. And I've done so many like interviews on like TV and like podcasts now, and I would have never had that opportunity or like push myself to do that. But I think he kind of was pushing me in that direction just because he's so beloved. So there were all these opportunities to like speak about him, and I sometimes find it hard to like speak about myself, but it was never hard to talk about him. I think he just really helped me kind of come out of my shell and find my voice as like a biologist here. And he can, you know, I continue to like talk about him and how grateful I am to have had that experience.
Did you love Claude?
Yeah, I mean, I've cared for a lot of animals in my career, but I do think like I feel very fondly for him because of like what he helped me become. Yeah, so yeah. Ugh.
Why?
I don't know. I was like, I hope that this all comes out okay.
When I saw that he passed, I immediately was like, how is the person that took care of him?
It's been a really rough couple of like weeks. I don't know, it's a lot of pressure and to care for an animal that's so like loved and by not only the academy but the city, which has become, you know, I knew that already, knowing like him and like doing all his 30th birthday stuff, but yeah, I think I have a hard time separating myself out from like the thousands of people that are distraught over it. I always think about like Moodang's keepers and I'm like, oh, so much attention. I think that's like one of the things that I've reflected on is that I am a shy person who like got into working with animals because I was like, oh, cool. Like, I'm good at that. I'm good at the like taking care of animals, and it's really interesting to me. And yeah, I was like, I don't need to work with people, but I've come to realize like when I worked with Claude, you have to talk to the people. That's how you form a connection. So as much as us animal people like to hide, I think it's important that, we have these animals like Claude who are charismatic megafauna that people really connect with, and they need people to speak for them. And becoming more confident and finding my voice, I was able to really advocate for him, especially like towards the end. I was able to confidently express my concerns, and I felt like they were heard, so that I knew that I was giving him the best care that I could. So in a way, full circle, like helped me become more confident so that I could advocate for him, and I feel good about what I advocated for him. For me, when I come in and I still go to, have to check on the turtles and the fish, there's something obviously missing, and sometimes I like forget, even though I was there for the whole thing and I know that he's no longer here. I come in and I look, and then I'm like, oh, that's right, Claude's not here anymore. So I think that is something that has just had a really big impact on, especially like San Francisco, the Bay Area. This constant is now gone, and hopefully they came here and connected with something. If it wasn't Claude, maybe it was something else. So maybe he brought them in, but he was able to connect people to the natural world. And there's been a lot of letters that I've read about how he helped them like face their fears of like alligators and large reptiles. So I think he's also, an ambassador for all the scaly things, right?
I love that he taught people to face their fears. And he kind of taught you to face their
definitely fears. Oh yes, it is not it's not for everyone getting in with an alligator. So
or speaking in front of a crowd.
Or speaking
with a journalist.
Exactly. Face a lot of fears.
Wow, I feel like this conversation really resonates at the end of the year when we're looking back on what happened this year and also looking forward to a future which is uncertain. And Claude always was kind of a mystery. Why was he so beloved? But I think that this conversation goes to show that he meant a lot to people in a lot of different ways. And it reminds me that this year, you and I, Jessie, we faced our fears launching this podcast, which I'm so grateful for. We interviewed big names like Governor Gavin Newsom, and we put our face and our voice out there for people.
We had to pose for so many silly photos. That's really scary.
Yeah, I really was trying not to look like Captain Morgan in all of them. And I'm really grateful to the people who've listened to this podcast. Thank you so much for spending time with us. And we really look forward to spending time with you next year.
We will be back in January with new episodes. Hope you all have wonderful holidays, and we'll see you soon.